Oh, sorry
Okay,
about
cool.
that.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's awesome. Okay, so just quickly, thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. This is Access Tools in Action, and an invitation to all the practitioners and facilitators in South Africa, Botswana, and Namibia to jump on the call and contribute to how we use the questions and what benefits and what contribution they are to us creating our lives. So we started a conversation before I started the recording, and we were chatting about how there seems to be a lull at the moment in creativity, and that for the last day or two, or maybe a bit longer, somebody in the universe switched off the creativity button, and we like the new ideas are not showing up right now. And how I'd noticed that I'd received a couple of emails and watched a couple of Facebook lives with other facilitators overseas who are experiencing the same thing. And my awareness on this is that there's a shift, or there's a change currently occurring with our reality, and that is a synchronicity, and we should just wait it out. And when that, whatever it is, has shifted and changed, that those pings will start coming again. So if you don't go into the wrongness of you, if you don't start judging yourself, if you don't start thinking, oh, what the hell happened, there's something wrong or whatever, then you can be relaxed in that space and go and just be in the question all the time, which is the topic of our call today. It's like, okay, so what is this? Do we need to be doing anything with it right now? Can we wait it out? What are we aware of? And what do we know? And just keep on asking questions around it, but do it from a space of no judgment. The minute you judge yourself, you're cutting off your awareness. And then all you're doing is swimming around in, oh, there's something wrong with me. Oh, then you allow fear to come in, and doubt to come in, or shame to come in, or guilt to come in, or regret to come in, or something around business or whatever. And those are all the distractor implants that will cut you off from what you're aware of and what you know. So for me, I'm kind of just going to hang out and wait it out. And kind of just stare at the mountain for a while. I don't know, whatever works for you. But I kind of, it's kind of like take your foot off the pedal, right? Even though we're in lockdown, we've still had this energy of go, 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 do, create new ideas. You've got to like shift and change and pivot and do all those different things, which is still putting a lot of pressure on ourselves to perform. But what if there's a synchronicity with the universe, and that we can be with our bodies, our being, and the earth all connected and in communion, that at the right time, something shows up? And would you be willing to wait for that? And we're willing to be in the space of that? Because what if in that synchronicity, in that space, there's more ease for execution rather than the forcing and the doing of, I've got to force this, I've got to do it, I've got to earn money, I've got to whatever it is, all those driving factors that you have that are pushing you and creating that performance pressure. So yeah, so Nicolette, if you want to carry on with what you were saying, that would be awesome.
All right. So I was saying for the people who have just come on that I have been in a bit of a spin and kept going outside of me to find people as the source to create. I work for myself, and so does my husband. And I kept saying to him, well, you've got to do this. You've got to do this for me. You've got to find clients for me. You've got to open up the doors for me. You've got to make me visible so that I can earn an income and money. And then I got the awareness, and Jenny and I have had this conversation so many times, it's like a hamster on a wheel, about that I am the source, and I am this potent energy, and I can create anything in my life. And it's just about getting back to that, realizing that, which I have done. But now comes the human mind and like, okay, so what do I need to create? What questions do I have to ask? But now, Jenny, you've just said something that was super light. It was like, what if we just wait? Because, everyone is just going to synchronize, and we'll be able to create after that.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you're in that space of awareness, which you can have if you're always in the question and not judging yourself, then the ping will occur, and you'll notice the ping. You'll perceive that. and you'll know what action to take. And there won't be any, I have to, it'll just happen because it comes from that space of knowing, being, perceiving, and receiving. It just happens. It's like you just stand up, you just email someone, you'll just make a phone call, you'll just create a graphic, whatever. It'll just show up. Does that make sense? Without that thinking process that goes into it about you have to, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? Like, and it's, but like still be, those questions are great, but not from that push energy. Sometimes a push energy is required, but is it now? Is that push energy required now, or is it take your foot off the pedal and hang out?
Janine? Yeah, I found I was really doing it from a need, like, oh my goodness, I need. And I think it was also everyone around me and, you know, people in general.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is when the need comes up, then you're not being. Just know when you're needing something, when you need money, when you need business, when you need clients, you're not being in that space. You've gone into a belief or a thought, and that will trigger a distractor implant. Janine, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, there was something about, because I'm very much living in this space and I've been there for a while, of just being in a space of being and creating action and creativity. So for me, the creativity's been off the charts since the lockdown happened, and it doesn't really seem to change.
Awesome.
But the thing that did strike me was this thing of self-generated, like I am the source thing. Because often, like this thing of looking outside myself for whatever it is, affection, love, care, that sort of thing, like turning that around and providing it for myself has been the last couple of days kind of task of actually listening into what do I need in this moment. I know you just said about the need, but like in this moment, what is the next best action to do?
Yeah.
From a place of being, and then that just pops. So like I might, you know, it might be that I've got to take a bath with some lavender, or like I just ask, okay, and now, and the things are coming. But it's really around, instead of trying to get it from the outside now, providing it first on the inside.
Yeah.
And that really.
Awesome. Cool.
I do have a question around that though. And my question is, what does one do when you have like opposing parts inside of you? One part after this and one part after that and one part after the next thing. How does one meet all of the dynamics within these little inner conflict spaces?
Yeah, how many voices do you have in your head? Well, this is like, so listen to how you're receiving that information. So how do you receive that information?
So often, like you said, is in the form of thoughts or feelings, and other times, like I find that doesn't always help me. So, for example, last night I was stuck with a decision, and it's like, what the hell to do? So I put little pieces of paper on the floor that were all crumpled up that I couldn't see them, and I literally just danced in the spot of each one and felt what my body said.
Yeah.
Each one.
Cool.
And that gave me, when I went with the lightness of what the body said, I was really surprised at the answer, but that felt light for the first time. Whereas when I was stuck in the thinking and the feeling and the what should I do stuff, that became very, very difficult and challenging because there's all these different parts wanting different things.
And that's great, because if you're thinking, you can't know. Thinking's
nice.
the lower.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
The thinking is the lower harmonic of knowing.
Okay.
And feeling is the lower harmonic of being. And I always get these two mixed up. So feeling is the lower harmonics of, feeling is the lower harmonics of perceiving and emotions are the lower harmonics of being.
So my question is, how can I stay in that space of being, perceiving, and
so connect your being, knowing, being, perceiving, and receiving. So connect your being with your body and the earth. and drop all
being
thoughts.
with body and earth. Oh my God, that's
Connect. We did a call on this a couple of weeks ago. I think it's on the YouTube channel.
yeah, I remember it was magic.
Yeah. So that's whenever I get into a confused state, a stress state, an anxious state, I got a state, I'm needy, whatever. That's what I do. That's my go-to, is to connect my body and my being in the earth. And then from there, I have a lot more peace and a lot more relaxation. And then you can be in the question. And then it's, okay, what is this? What can I do with it? Can I change it? And if so, how can I change it? Those are your 4 questions to ask around anything. And sometimes,
sorry, could you repeat that?
what is this? Shubid.
Uh-huh.
I like, when I have to think about it, it doesn't flow so well. What is
what
this?
can I do with it? Yeah.
What is this? What can I do with it? Can I change it? If so, how do I change it?
Thank you.
And that gives you the information as to the timing. Because when you ask those questions, then you get that awareness of, no, you can't do anything about it right now. And when you get that awareness that there's nothing for you to do in those few seconds, then ask for your allowance to expand greater than your awareness. Because what happens is you're aware of everything and you think you have to do something about everything, which actually you don't. You can just ask your allowance to expand greater than your awareness, so that you don't get frustrated or irritated or whatever with whatever the situation is at the time. So those 4 questions are really great. Yeah. What is this? What can I do with it? Was it? I can't remember. I'm not going to mess it up now. You had it. Yeah. And then when you're in that space of communion with your being, your body, and the earth, now you can be in the question, what else is possible? How does it get better than this? What infinite possibilities exist that I've never considered before? How can this work out greater than I can ever imagine? That's my favorite question. So at the moment, how can this work out greater than I can ever imagine? And when you're asking questions, it's not about coming to an answer. That is our training and our conditioning, having been brought, the way we've been brought up, is that you always have to get an answer to everything. You have to have a solution for everything. You can't just leave anything to chance. It's always about the doing and the fixing and the changing and whatever. But the way Access works with a question is, as you ask a question, you open the doors to possibilities. Because all possibilities exist, infinite possibilities exist, but we cannot perceive them from the way we've been brought up, because we have been brought up in a limited reality. We've been told that there are only certain things that are possible, and that we are victims to how our lives show up, and that we have to make the best of whatever happens to us. And we've never been shown, taught, or whatever, that actually the way our lives show up are based on the choices we've been making. And the choices we've been making up until now have been based on our beliefs that we've been impelled with during our lifetime. And we've never been taught to question any of those beliefs or anything that's been showing up in our lives up until now. So the beauty of the question is to actually open it up to infinite possibilities. And for you to acknowledge, actually, you don't know all the possibilities, because up until now we've been blinkered, right, by our beliefs, what we think is going to happen, the limitations, the definitions, whatever. And as soon as you say what else is possible, you drop the blinkers, and now you're connecting with the universe. Now, providing you don't try and find the answer to this, because as soon as you find the answer, then you're disempowering yourself again, and you're locking yourself down just into one possibility. You keep that open, what else is possible? And then different things start showing up in your life that you would never have thought possible before, because prior to that, all you can perceive is what you've known from your mind. So this is also a brilliant way to go beyond the mind, so that you can access more, because the mind is only giving you what you've already experienced in this lifetime. And maybe some memories of past lifetimes, but that's a different conversation. But it's limited, right? And what it can give you. So to get past that, to go beyond your beliefs even, is what else is possible. And that's really cool, right? If you're stuck in, I can't earn enough money, there's not enough money in the world, it just disappears into a black hole. All those limiting beliefs are what you're creating your current reality from. Now, if you can go into question, what else is possible? What infinite possibilities exist here that I've never considered? What would it take for me to create this with ease? How can this work out greater than I can ever imagine? Do you get a sense of how the energy shifts when you start being in the question? But don't look for the answer. So this is where you've got to be really present with yourself, because the auto response to a question right now is to find the answer. And especially when you think you're trying to solve a problem, like you think you've got to solve a money problem or a class problem or a creativity problem or whatever it is if you're trying to solve a problem, you shut down questions. Because then when you're trying to solve a problem, you're doing it in your head. And you want to go beyond that.
But I think, Jenny, the key for me, what you've said first, though, is connect with the being and with the earth, and then ask the questions.
Yeah.
Because I've tried it the other way around, where I'm just asking questions, and I get like, you know, a vague kind of something.
Yeah.
But I get the sense, the times when I have been connected to being and earth, and then I ask the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
Different. Yeah. So yes, the questions work even if you're buzzing around in your head. But what if you can create greater by being in communion with your body, your being, in the earth? And that you can create like a more dynamic space for you, if that kind of makes sense. So cool. What questions do you have about questions? And please share how you use questions.
I just have a clarity now. I use the questions, but I was using it with judgment. And I know that place very well, where the flag is pulled, my creative flag, someone switched it off. I had that all my life. I would go through a cycle, but I would look at it, you're doing it again, like even eating what so-called healthy food at that moment also disappeared. It's like lethargy, and I would go on into judgment, and I'm asking the question at the same time. Obviously, I don't get a thing because it's based on judgment. It's like, get out of that. What is this? Get out.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Awesome. And so the judgment, obviously you have the tool's interesting point of view. I have this point of view. But like when you're using the tool interesting point of view, I have this point of view on judgment. Are you willing to give up the judgment, or are you still insisting on judging yourself, even though you're using the tool?
Yeah. It's like, you know what, that we talk about that many times, but the still conditioning, like you are judged, so you become better. Judgment was used to make you become a better person.
Yeah.
You're doing that thing wrong, and that thing is,
still, but that's the thing, is to recognize judgment doesn't make you better. Judgment doesn't make you into a better person. All it does is set up more judgment.
Yeah.
Because then you have to judge your level of betterness.
Yeah.
So it just keeps perpetuating judgment. So so this is where it's really can be a great contribution to you if you're willing to be present with the energy that you're being when you're asking the question.
Definitely.
Because if you're doing it from that judgment space, if you're doing it, and do you get a sense of when you judge yourself like that, it's not very kind.
Not at all. It's harsh.
Yeah. But what if part of what's showing up and what can be different in the future is to be kinder to ourselves? Would you really be willing to be kinder to yourself? And you have to choose it. It's not, unless you choose it, which means stop judging you. Stop being unkind to you. That is the energy that will create a different reality. That will be the invitation to others to do the same. That will be the invitation for everybody to see that it is possible to be happy no matter what's going on around us. Because judgment sets up unhappiness and depression and anxiety and stress.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're doing that, the thing is, like, I remember like how much judgment I used to do of myself, and I'd be so harsh with myself, but it was almost like proving a potency to myself too. That's like, the more I could judge myself, and then I could flip myself out of it and take action. But I always perpetuated the same cycle over and over again, because it was done from that energy of judgment. Always ended up in the same space, even though and I'd have to really, there's a difference between having to motivate yourself from judgment. Is like every single second you got to kick your ass to get going. But you could have more ease if you're not judging yourself. You could be choosing, be in the question, and creating and actualizing with more fun and more joy. I mean, you can do it both ways, but which would you like to choose? And then what if you're choosing the ease, and that you're continuously creating and moving forward instead of recycling the same thing over again, which you would do from that space? So if you start from judgment, you'll end up back in judgment. No matter how long it takes, much longer the cycle takes, you'll end up in this, you'll come back to the judgment, because that's where you started. So what else is possible with this now? Would you be willing to stop judging you? Is that the gift you're willing to give yourself? Is that the gift we can give to the earth? Because if you're walking energetically as a judgment stick on the earth, what is that contributing to the earth? Would we be a greater contribution to the earth if we were happy? What if we could have happy people, happy planet? What if that's a contribution, right? If we could be happy people, do you get a sense of how much lighter and how more expansive that energy gets? Happy people, happy planet. That's pretty cool, right? And in that space, would it lessen the abuse and the conflict and the wars and the crazy stuff that happens?
I just become very aware of this reality, the motivation used in this reality to create more is pain. So
Yeah.
no gain. The main thing is pain.
Yeah.
And I was buying that, I was doing that reality. So if I judge myself enough, I will get up and create. It was I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
It's like if I use kindness, gentleness, that person will never move and do something. They're going to be lazy. You have to push them. So that person being me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we creating from pain. Yeah. Nice. And what if we can do it differently? But this is where you've got to then learn to choose.
Yeah.
Because the pain is like, eventually when that nail sticks in your ass hard enough, you eventually get up. But it can take a while, right? You can just, like, it can be a niggly, and then it gets a little more sore, and a little more sore, a little more sore, a little more sore, until eventually you can't take it anymore. And then you're going, oh, okay, now I've got to move. Now I have to move. But it's a totally different muscle to be choosing and creating your life not from judgment, because we're not used to that. But if you can be the energy of the question all the time, do you see, no judgment's required in that energy, in that space. You don't ever need to judge yourself. What else is possible? Is this working? No, it's not working. Okay, what else can I choose? It's not, no, this is not working. Oh, I did it wrong. Where did I do it wrong? What was, and you go like, no, okay, this didn't work. Okay, what part of this didn't work? What can I choose and be today? Be and choose different today. Because if you have something that shows up that you don't like, it's just one choice away from changing it. And you're just going to ask, okay, what can I choose differently today? Who can I be today? What was it? I can't
Energy,
remember.
space, consciousness.
Yeah, it's about be more of me, and it'll come just
Yeah,
now.
there is
It'll come just now. But it's like, if
yeah.
you're always in the question, if you're a walking, talking question, you are a walking, talking possibility. If you're a walking, talking
So, Jen,
question, you're walking, talking infinite possibilities. Yeah.
I'm finding I am using the questions, except I have this expectation that something's just going to happen. So I'll be like, okay, what else is possible? How does it get better than this? And then I'm waiting for it and I'm expecting it to come. So it's just of late. I never used to do it before. And now all of a sudden, with everything in the world the way it is, I feel like I am using the questions, but expecting something to just magically show up, which I know is possible, but
Yes.
I really feel like my energy is sitting on the expectation.
Okay. What is the expectation? If the magic shows up, what is that going to prove to you?
That I can do it, that I'm potent enough to do it.
Okay. So what if you don't need the proof? What if you can know? And what if it's the proving that is not allowing it to show up?
Oh, okay. Yes, that sounds right.
Because when we have an expectation from the space of proving, then it may not show up with ease because you're trying to prove something. If you're trying to prove something, what judgment do you have of yourself, or what belief do you have that's requiring you to need the proof?
Okay.
So whatever that belief is that you require the proof, will you destroy and uncreate that?
Yes.
Times by Godzilla and right, wrong, good, bad, papalana, short boys and beyonds. And what if you can know? And if you have if you're asking from the space of knowing, then you don't have to be on wait and expectation. You can carry on living your day and living your life, and then be present and aware. And then when it shows up, you go, oh, there it is. And
That's it. Yes.
Yeah. But if you find you're waiting and you're doing the mind flip thing of where is it? Why isn't it showing up now? I've asked. I did ask. I know I asked. Yes. So why is it not showing up? What's wrong? Why is this not coming? Do you know what I mean? And it's like that is going from your head tripping. And there's something there that you're trying to prove. So it's like, okay, connect your body, being to the earth. Ask from that space and then carry on with your day.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool. So, how else are people using questions?
Hi, Jenny.
Hello. Hi, Yupatek.
I'm good. How's everyone?
Good.
So my question is, on how to use the questions.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done both versions, and so I mean, like, when do you get real specific, and when do you go general and just leave it up to the universe? I mean, I have done both, and there have been situations where I've been super duper specific and I've created every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wonder what would have happened had I gone just, oh, the universe, just in this situation, show me, like, bring me whatever is best for that, like the greatest contribution.
Yeah. So what if you can do both and it's not either or? And what if you're following your awareness as to when to be specific and when not? And what if it's about the energy that you're being when you're asking?
Yeah, I think I go specific when I know exactly what I want as an outcome.
Yeah.
But what if, I'm just wondering if I'm limiting myself by deciding that I know, instead of leaving it open to the universe?
Well, everybody's, I want to say style of asking is different and unique to them in a way. So it's like, if it works for you, I always have this point of view that, and I mean, it's not a right or wrong point of view, but if it works, don't change what works.
Yeah.
And if you have ease with it, and if it shows up with ease, awesome. If you find that there's any force or any control in it, then maybe there you can ask questions around that.
It works when I don't have a point of view. It works when I do it from a place of wonder and not from a place of, oh, please, I really wish this would be, oh my God, kind of.
And that is the going from the space of neediness, or like you say, the space of wonder and curiosity. I wonder how this is going to show up. How much fun can I have watching this show up?
When I'm in a good sort of space or headspace, I can do it, and I do it like as if it's a game.
Yeah.
As if it's a game. Not to prove myself. I think that's when it goes wrong, like what you were saying just now. But to just literally have fun with it and go, oh, I wonder if I can actually create this really specific thing. Show me if that's possible.
Yeah, and play with it. That's awesome. I love that energy. That's really cool. Yeah. And I think that the thing is just to be present and aware with the energy that you're being when you start asking for things. If you're doing it from frustration or irritation or neediness or proving, I'm not saying these things aren't going to show up. Absolutely, things can show up. There'll just be more ease when you're in a different space of not judgment, not proving, and not expecting. Because also, if you are attached to the outcome, you will then start to control how it shows up, when actually the how things show up is actually what is the universe's job. We don't need to figure out the how, and we also don't need to know the timing. So the two things, when you're asking questions about what else is possible, how can this get better, how does it get better than this, what can change here, whatever, is to not interfere with the process. It's not really a process, but not to interfere with the how, and not to interfere with the timing. Because when you start doing that, you're doing control, and then you're attached to the outcome. And it's like, this takes practice, right? This is a muscle to practice, because we're like so controlling. We just love to control everything. Is to go, oh, I would love for such and such to show up. What would it take? Like, I'd love to meet someone new that will contribute to my life, that is interested in having consciousness conversations, that is fun to hang out with, and then put the question out there. What will it take for this person to show up with ease? And then carry on with your day. But if you're thinking about it constantly, if you're re-asking the question constantly, if you've decided how this person should look like, act like, where they should come from, when you should meet them, how you should meet them, then you're interfering with the process. It's about to let go of the whole thing and just carry on with your day and carry on living. And then the universe will connect all the dots. And when the dots all connect and it's all synchronistic, I don't even know if that's a word, poof, there it shows up. But we got to be willing to wait. And stay in the energy of what we've asked for without going to frustration. It hasn't shown up. Oh, it didn't show up, therefore I didn't ask correctly. Oh, it didn't show up, there must be something wrong with me. Oh, it didn't show up, now I don't deserve. You've got to kind of, Sorry, Patek, what did you want to ask?
Just one last thing. So if you're in that moment of asking, and you catch yourself being in those, other energies, you catch yourself being in those other energies where you're asking from a place of neediness or expectation or conclusion or judgment. How do you, in that moment where you actually want to ask, shift your energy to, how do you, how do you get rid of the attachment?
Just as easy, what if it's just about connecting your body, your being in the earth, to get into that space of relaxation and peace?
Right. Yes, that's nice.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's tools if you destroy and uncreate whatever, interesting point of view for judgment and whatever. But if you like, I really love that connecting body, being, and earth.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Because,
Thank you.
Yeah. So you see,
Thank
there's
you.
no right way or wrong way to play with questions, just as long as they're always questions and not conclusions with a question mark attached. Gary, did you want to ask something?
Delightful.
Morning.
I came in a few minutes late and you were talking about connecting body, being, and earth. Can I ask if you just explain that better? Because there's sometimes when I contract and when I'm going through questioning everything and not going with the flow and not staying in question, I find it difficult to even expand out, let alone connecting body, being, and earth. How would it, what process, what steps could I take to initiate my body, being, and earth connected?
So my question for you is, have you decided somewhere that heavy contracted energy is more real for you than your space of being?
Well, it's more common for me.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is like, if you've decided that is, so if it's more common and more frequent, does that make it more real?
I would say I wouldn't. Hold on. The answer doesn't feel right around real, but it feels right around. It's sort of my go-to place. I slip in there without even noticing it.
Yeah.
And once I'm in, it's as if it's anchored.
Yeah. So everywhere you've decided that it's anchored, and all the value you attach to that, which sounds really crazy, right? Because you're like, why would you have value in that? But there's some value in it for you, otherwise you wouldn't choose it. Although it feels like an auto response, there is still a choice in that moment, because you can kind of go, oh, here I go again, and you can choose to not go or go. And that auto response of going, if you'll be willing to in that moment say, no, I'm not going, this is where you can change it by choosing something different. And the thing is, often when we've been doing auto response for so long, we don't know what the other side is. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, we always go this way because, and even though you don't like it, it's comfortable because it's what you've known. It's where you've always gone. So you just keep going here, and you don't not choose it because you're not sure what the alternatives are, what the other possibilities are. But if you go, like, this is how I started changing that, going into the deep dive. I'm going, no, I'm not choosing that. And then you can go straight into what else is possible. This is where the beauty of the questions can show up for you, is like, what else is possible? And this is because, and the what else is possible is like, you don't know what else is possible because you haven't chosen it before. But if you know what else is possible, the universe can bring you other possibilities if you be willing to ask and not have to know the answer. So would you be willing to be in the question all the time without having the answers or having to go to the answers? And just because you don't know what the answer is, you go to that comfortable space again, because at least that you know. Would you be willing to do it differently now? And this is where you're going to start choosing something different. And that is a choice, you know, and you can still choose to go that way too. And if you don't judge it, it's okay. Don't judge it. It's going, okay, I'm going to go wallow for a while. And that's okay. If you don't resist the wallow, you may find that you get out of wallow a lot quicker than you did before. And that's what I found. Is like, if I go into wallow, okay, I'm going to wallow. And then like after 10 minutes, okay, I'm done with wallow. But wallow continues to exist if you resist it. And you resist it by your judgment of it, and by making yourself wrong over and over again for choosing it. So this is, now you can get to that, like, okay, and even if you get into wallow and you go, oh shit, I didn't notice, here I am in wallow. Okay, what do I want to choose? Do I want to choose wallow, or would I like to choose something else? Go straight to question. What would I like to choose now? Because you can change your choice in every 10 seconds. Oh, I want to wallow some more. So wallow some more. No judgment. Just wallow. Be happy wallowing. You can be happy wallowing. Who knew? And then, okay, in half an hour's time, Would I like to continue wallowing? Yes. Continue to wallow. Half an hour. Would I like to continue wallowing? No, I'm done now. Okay, what else is possible? Do you get is what else is possible immediately changes the energy for you. There you've your choice to ask the question is an action step. Asking a question is an action step. We think that like we still got to take action. Sorry?
I say that also shines a lot more light on choice, because it's one of the areas I tend to get frustrated when I hear a facilitator saying, well, just choose. I mean, like,
no, right?
Like, I'd love to do foundation. There are all these online foundations at the moment. There's no travel costs, no accommodation.
I know, right?
costs,
How's it get better?
no money. And
Yeah.
they say, well, choose it. Just choose it. I'm thinking like, yes, it's like I'm choosing to have a rump steak for supper tonight. My fridge has only got air in it. I don't mean choose it.
Yeah, but okay, so now that's okay, cool. That's pretty cool, because this is the thing. We think that if that thing's not available in that 10 seconds, we can't choose it. But you can choose it. You've just got to be willing to be in the question, create it, and allow it to show up. This is often where we stop our choices, because we think if it's like, okay, I'd like to fly overseas right now. Well, okay, that's not really possible in those 10 seconds. However, I can create it that when lockdown's done and we're allowed to travel again, then I can go. So just because you can't do it in those 10 seconds doesn't mean to say that you haven't got the choice. You do have the choice. You've got to be in the energy of that, what you would like to choose, and going, okay, when lockdown's done, I'd like to do this. Or I don't have a rump steak in those 10 seconds. What would it take from me to create money so I can buy a rump steak? Whatever it is that you've got to do to create your, you know what I mean? It's like you can still do it. Just because it's not there in that 10 seconds doesn't mean to say you can't still create it. And that's often where we limit ourselves, is when we go to that choice, that we shut it down because we think, oh, I don't have the money, I'm not allowed to travel, whatever the reason is. It's like, no, that's going into conclusion and answer. Do you see straight away you've got an answer for it? You've got an answer for your question. I'd like a rump steak. I don't have a rump steak in this 10 seconds. I can't have a rump steak. Conclusion, answer, boof, done. There you've limited your choices straight away. Instead of going, okay, I'd love a rump steak. What will it take? What will it take for me to get a rump steak? Somebody could gift you one. Somebody could invite you out for dinner. Who knows how can this can show up? The universe have all these different ways of things that can come to you, but we shut it down because we don't have the answer. You don't have to have the answer with the question. It's put it out there and allow the universe to contribute to you. It can come from anywhere. So this is where you have the choice, right? You have the choice. Do I want to wallow? Do I want to be depressed because I don't have a rump steak, or would I like to create it? Just the humanoid thing is, we were not first in the queue for patience. So this is where you've got to be willing to be patient and wait it out and allow the universe to gift you. And the rump steak may show up tomorrow. It may show up in 5 years' time. But no, it will show up. It will show up. But if you don't trust the universe to have your back, and if you don't stay in the energy of what you're asking for, you uncreate it. So do you get how you have the power and the control, and you are the source for everything in your life by being in the question and allowing the universe to have your back? Just don't work out the how, and don't get hung up on the timing. The universe has a synchronicity of timing that if you would be willing to wait for it, it will show up. Julian has seen us rained fish once. What would it take? Hey, you could rain rump steaks. Who knows? All these flying cows. This is our new reality showing up, flying cows. Yeah.
Possible
Yeah. So it's choice and questions and possibilities and contribution. Magic tools. Be willing to wait. Allow the universe to contribute to you. Cool. What else with questions? Everybody's got distracted by their phones. What will it take for me to have all the people on the Zoom present?
We're taking notes, Jenny, on our phone.
That's cool.
No, I was just
said it on here.
I was just telling Nazreen she can still join the call because she just realized that she, yeah.
Oh, no, that's fine.
It was for the call, Jenny.
Yeah. Cool. So any question with the energy of curiosity, wonder, and possibility are great questions. There are no fixed questions, right? It's like any question that has that space of curiosity. Oh, I wonder what this will be like. I wonder what it would take for this to show up with ease. You know what? And like, how would I like to create my life? That's a great question too. How would I like to create my life? What energies would I like to have in my life? What would I like to do to create and actualize and generate money? What projects would I like to work on? What ideas do I have? What will it take for this all to come to fruition and actualize with total ease? Do you get that there's no force or control when you're being those energies of questions? You don't have to force or control anything. You don't have to be attached to any outcome. You can just have that curiosity and that wonder of what will it take? How can it get better than this?
Jen,
Yes,
can you talk a little bit more about actualization versus choice and question, and how do you get to the actualization part?
So then you ask what action steps are required.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if you're congruent with the energy of what you're asking for, the action steps that are required for that will show up with ease, and you'll know what they are. You won't have to think them. You'll just know. And they will show up, and an email shows up, or a person shows up, or a video shows up, or something shows up that matches the energy and go, oh, cool. And then you can watch that video or talk to that person or respond to that email or whatever it is, right? And that's how you start following the energy and taking those steps to the actualization with ease.
Brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jenny, I've got a question. I just don't know whether it really fits in here. I'm just trying to figure out whether it's the right thing. But I've noticed a situation, I don't know whether one can maybe go in there with questions, so which often just happens when I think or know something. I had a case the other day where I know that a teacher of our school has a very rare disease which they can't find out. But I sort of reading in my own things, I've sort of got an idea what the background can be. And I just phoned his wife, you know, just to tell her about, or just to ask her whether they have looked into this possibility. And so often it happens that you want to actually just find out in something, and then I go into a situation like I have this drive to just suddenly you just tell everything and talk and give more information. I always have the feeling I'm not giving enough information, where actually people end up have the feeling that they are completely overpowered by all the information. And it is for me such I'm so judgment of everything, because I'm getting such a heavy feeling every time after that as well. Like, and then you start, judging yourself and condemning. Why did you go again? And how can you break this circle to go? And is there a question you can before? Because it's not something you want to go, and it just happens. It's like just suddenly it's just like a switch, and you just maybe the information fits in there, but it's not necessary. It's too much to just break that circuit.
And that's often what happens when we have hidden agendas. And a hidden agenda can be you want to heal everybody, or a hidden agenda can be whatever, right? And then it comes from a space of force and control, because now you've got to prove and you've got to act on your hidden agenda. So say if it's like you want to heal everyone, then you will look for all the people that have health issues, for example, We can go with the physical body with health things. I mean, there's also the mental stuff too. And then if you have an awareness of what's going on with their body, because of that agenda, it pushes you. It's like being pushed by like a train, right? A train's pushing you and pushing you and pushing you, and you don't have any choice from that space of what you say and what you do. So what I would do there is like destroy and uncreate all my secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unseen, unsaid, unacknowledged, and undisclosed, I think is the other one, agendas that you have with us. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, bottle, and short, boys and beyonds. All the projections and expectations that you have of yourself, destroy and uncreate that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, bottle, and short, boys and beyonds. And destroy and uncreate anywhere you're trying to heal, fix, or change anyone. And right, wrong, good, bad, pop, bottle, and short, boys and beyonds. Because what will create more ease for you perhaps is to ask questions and to give little bits of information that if they are interested in that, what you know, or the information you have, they will come to you and ask you. You would rather be the magnet that people come to you and ask you questions rather than you having to force. Because what happens is when we come in with that much intensity, people have to back off because it's too much. And you sense them backing off, right? And you're going, oh, shit. But the immediate response is, oh, I haven't given them enough information, or I haven't given them the right information. Now I have to give them something else. Then I have to come in from this angle. Then I've got to come in from this angle because I didn't give them the right information. And then you keep going. And you kind of know you're doing it, but you can't stop yourself. Those are usually the secret hidden agendas, right? The shikus. So just keep on destroying and uncreating those over and over again. Keep on destroying, uncreating everywhere you're trying to heal everyone, everywhere you're trying to heal everyone on the planet, and everywhere you're trying to get it right, and everywhere you're trying to prove you're right. Destroy and uncreate that, and just keep on doing that until you get a sense of more space for you, that you can then be in the question, and you can pop questions to people and allow them to come to you.
Because there's one thing that I always so much want to do, and then I just often feel that I really have a problem in that moment asking the right question. You know, you want to just find out. I actually like phone just to ask questions to find out how's he doing, what have you been looking at, what are possibilities, what have you found, just being in the question. But then I feel myself very stuck then. It's like I'll just go into that I just freeze up, that I can't think of the.
But how much are you trying to get everything right?
Yeah, I think that's a big problem, that I'm constantly think I'm not doing it right, or don't know enough.
So everywhere you're trying to get everything right, will you destroy and uncreate that?
Yes.
Times by Godzilla and right, wrong, good, bad, pop, bottle, and short, boys and beyonds. Everywhere we are trying to get everything right in order to avoid being wrong, will we destroy and uncreate that?
Yes.
Times by Godzilla and right, wrong, good, bad, pop, bottle, and short, boys and beyonds. Everywhere we're trying to get everything right, will we destroy and uncreate that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, bottle, and short, boys and beyonds. Everywhere we're avoiding being wrong, will we destroy and uncreate that? Times by Godzilla and right, wrong, good, bad, pop, bottle, and short, boys and beyonds. And what I used to do for a long time is like, what energy, space, consciousness can my body and I be to be willing to be wrong with total ease? Be willing to be wrong. I used to say it, I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. Oh, I can still feel the energy in that. I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. And everything that brings up, times by Godzilla, I destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, bottle, and short, boys and beyonds. Because your drive to be right will push people away, and it'll keep you in that whole contracted, frustrated energy that it keeps it. I don't want to like language it like this, but it makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. And say things you wouldn't normally say.
Somebody else is driving you. It's like somebody's just steering you and you can't go against it.
Yeah. So just keep on and destroying and uncreating all those things. You may have to do it a lot, and then see what changes. Because there's a hidden agenda behind that. You always you have to be right, or you have to prove you're right. And also, how much do you want to heal others? But you've got to allow people choice as to when they want to heal and how they want to heal and if they want to heal. So when you're in that space too, ask your allowance to expand greater than your awareness. Because the thing is, even if we know stuff about other people, it's actually not our business until they ask us. So if there's something you'd like to contribute to someone because you have an awareness, put it in a question and allow them to come to you. And if they don't come to you, that's okay. Allow them to choose what they're choosing. This is the thing. We cannot change other people. But we're trying so hard to change other people. It's no. Release all those things within you. Get to know you better. Remembering that knowing you, getting to be more of you is about undefining you, not defining you. We think we've got to define ourselves. Oh, I am a healer. Oh, I am a teacher. Oh, I am a mom. Oh, I am a son. Oh, I am, all these identities and all these definitions we pile on ourselves. And then we get all the judgments that go with that. Because in order to be a good teacher, I have to be such and such. In order to be a good son, I have to be such and such. And then you set up that judgment system of how you're going to judge yourself according to what you've decided is a good teacher or a good son or whatever it is. But if you undefine all those things, you can be more of you, because then you can be all of you and not these little boxes that you've set up for yourself. So if you let go of all that stuff, you'll find you have a lot more ease being a contribution to others. But you've got to let go of your agendas and let go of your definitions and let go of your identities. And that's the internal work. And then you can be a greater contribution and invitation to others to be all of them, instead of us trying to fix, heal, and change other people. Yes, we have the tools that can contribute, but there's an energy that you can be that is more of an invitation rather than the force. And the greatest space for that is to be an allowance of what everybody chooses, which is interesting point of view with whatever they choose. And then what else is possible? What will it take for me to be able to give this information to them with ease? What will it take for them to ask me with ease? What other infinite possibilities exist here? That's when you be the question. Yeah.
Those questions are sometimes I just feel don't come up at the right moment.
Yeah, but is that because you're trying to get it right? If you're trying to get things right, you will not have ease with anything. Trying to get things right does not create ease. Trying to get things right creates judgment.
No, it was funny in this sense. It wasn't actually even trying to get it right, because I was a bit, should I, shouldn't I? Should I tell them about a possibility?
Yeah, but Renita, can I ask you a question? What is should and shouldn't I?
Uncertainty.
but that's trying to get it right. That's trying to get it right and get it wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the conditioning of this reality. This is how we've been brought up, that we have to get things right. You have to have the answer. You can't be in question. You can't question anything, because you've got to have the right answer. And often also when we've been told to not question anymore, because if you've been a questioning child and a curious child, often your teachers or your parents have said, shut you down, because they don't have the answers to your questions. So it's been programmed out of you. So everywhere this has been programmed out of you, will you now destroy and uncreate that? Times by Godzilla and right, wrong, good, bad, pop, online, short, and beyond. So everywhere the questioning process has been programmed and conditioned out of you, which is you as an infinite being questions everything, will you destroy and uncreate that? Times by Godzilla and right, wrong, good, bad, pop, online, short, and beyond. And everywhere conclusion, judgment, and assumptions have been programmed into you, and limitation, will you now destroy and uncreate that? And implanted and explanted, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, online, short, boys, and beyond. Phew. Wow. Yeah, as soon as you get that head spin, I shouldn't, I don't know how, I don't know what the right questions, you're in your head. That is a great indication that you're in your head when it starts getting that complicated and confusing and frustrating. That's like, stop. And even if you don't know what question to ask, you can ask, what question can I ask here? That's already opening the doors to something else. And then just be that space. And then, like you'll see, you'll get this, all these things will start showing up for you. We've got to be in the question more than conclusion. So start practicing that muscle of being in the question all the time. What else is possible? What do I know? What am I aware of? What contribution can I be? How much gratitude can I have for today? How much gratitude can I have for lockdown? How much gratitude can I have for me being me? How much more about my, what energy, space, and consciousness and choice can I have with myself today to be more of me and to be all of me with total ease? Those are like such opening questions, right? It gives you like kind of like, oh, how cool is this? What will it take for me to be happy today? What will it take for me to choose happiness today? And be in the question all the time. Walking, talking question, you'll be walking, talking possibility. And then be willing to acknowledge that you are different to everyone else because everybody else is doing conclusion and sadness and depression and judgment and whatever. And to not get sucked into that. Don't go there. Be willing to choose, be in the question, be a walking, talking possibility. Be all of you all the time. The minute it gets head trippy, the minute it gets heavy, you are not being infinite being. You are doing from the mind. Straight away, what else is possible? What else can I choose? What else is available for me that I've never acknowledged up until now? What infinite possibilities exist? Yeah. Cool.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Those great questions. You want to be a magnet? Ooh. Be you. Being you is the magnet. Okay, wait, I've missed a whole lot of questions here. Contraction feels more intense. Yeah, of course. But we're not used to choosing lightness. Being is light. Contraction feels more intense, but does it work for you? No, so choose something else. The choose word. Gary's favorite word. Choose, choose, choose. Okay, we got flying cows. Please can you repeat the hidden agenda and how can I be the magnet? The magnet is being you. That's the magnet. And hidden agendas is secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unseen, unsaid, undisclosed, and unacknowledged. Thank you so much, Gary. I have a conflict with not to define myself and define myself at the same time. Huh, cute. So everything's the opposite of what it appears to be. Nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. I'd play with that. Where you're trying to define yourself and undefine yourself at the same time. Maybe play with that one. You're welcome. And all the programming conditioning that we've had, that we have to define ourselves to know who we are by the personality tests, by the identities, and whatever else test that you've taken, to this is my career path, this is the kind of, I'm either a melancholy or a leader or a party person or whatever those 4 quadrants are. Do you remember the 4 quadrants? They were so famous a few years ago. You've got to fit yourself into one of those quadrants, and then you know who you are from that. And that is actually a limitation, because the more you undefine yourself and the more you're being you, you may find that you can be all 4 quadrants in different times, depending what the situation is. And that you're not just one of them. You can be any one of them in any time, and you can be all of them. And that's what I noticed too. In corporate, we used to do a lot of those tests, because they're always testing us for whatever. And I started off in melancholy, which was no surprise at the time. And I ended up being more in the middle. Eventually I couldn't get into one of those 4 quadrants. And that's like over the period of, I mean, I've been doing energy work for like probably 20 years now. So as I like kind of became more of me and undefined me and released all the past and all the bullshit and all the rest of it, I just kind of moved. So it just shows that you're not defined by one thing. So everywhere people, any definition that anybody has impelled onto you up until now, will you now destroy and uncreate them all? Times by Godzilla and right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pollinate, short boys and beyonds. Anyway, somebody said to you, oh, you're great at this, or you're not great at that, or whatever, and that's locked you into that thing, will you now destroy and uncreate that? Thomas Barker, Leon, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, online, short boys and beyonds. And your question is, what energy, space, consciousness, and choice can my body and I be to be all of me with total ease every single day? And how awesome is that? To be all of you every single day. Be all of you every single day. What will it take for you to have ease with that? Cool. Okay. Any last minute questions? So, be a walking, talking question. If you don't know what question to ask, just ask. Oh, I wonder what question I can ask here. What will create more here? What choices do I have available to me here? And be in the question all the time, then you will always have possibilities available. Always, always. And it's not about finding an answer, because that disempowers. It's to go way beyond and allow the universe to contribute. And if a lot of possibilities show up, then you can ask, okay, if I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years' time? And if it feels light and expansive, then that will be a contribution to you. And if it feels contracted, then maybe not so much. You can still choose it. The point is, then you are choosing from a space of awareness. Even if you're choosing the thing that will contract, remember, you can choose again anyway. You can still choose that thing, but you've chosen it with an awareness that it's not going to contribute as much for you as the other possibility. And then you can ask that on all the possibilities if you have 5 of them. Okay, if I choose you, what will my life be like in 5 years' time? If I choose you, what will my life be like in 5 years' time? If I choose you, what will my life be like in 5 years' time? And then it's like, okay, which one of you is going to create the most? Which one of you can I choose now? Which one's for now? Which one's for later? You can ask questions around all of that too. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It's just asking questions to get an awareness of the energy of what it's going to create for you in the future. And create more possibilities. Woohoo! How does it get better than this? Cool. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to share with questions? Or ask? Cool. Well, thank you, everybody. I just want to confirm that you all know you're going onto my YouTube channel and you will be public. Everybody okay with that? Because this is Access Tools in Action, that I would like for anybody to find these videos and for you guys to be a contribution to them. Because we all have our unique way of seeing things and perceiving things, and what contribution can that be to others. Cool. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a fabulous day.
Thank you,
Thank
Jenny.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So we-
Bye.